Witness Mr. Henry Bemis, a charter member in the fraternity of dreamers, a bookish little man whose passion is the printed page, but who is conspired against by a bank president and a wife, and a world full of tongue-cluckers, and the unrelenting hands of a clock. But in just a moment, Mr. Bemis will enter a world without bank presidents or wives or clocks or anything else. He'll have a whole world to himself, without anyone. This was Rod Serling's opening narration about an awkward man's fascination, I dare say obsession, over the written word. This is an episode written by Rod Serling and directed by Brahm. As always, the alternative theories mentioned within may cause anxiety, rage, and disbelief, but that's why you're here, I hope. Kindly consider leaving a like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let's follow Mr. Bemis and his idiosyncrasies during a most challenging time in his life. In anyone's life, that is. It's the Twilight Zone classic, Time Enough at Last. Mr. Bemis is a bank teller. Not a very good one at that. He'll short you $1 here or there as one magnified eye looks elsewhere. Bemis's work ethic and ability to fit in is questioned by management. While his career is in money, his head is buried in books. Instead of showing remorse in the quality of his work, he complains he doesn't get to read enough. His boss, who only wants to see his customers not get ripped off, warns Bemis he's one misstep away from the unemployment line. Bemis gets no rest from home. His wife, who enjoys the art of conversation, not only berates her husband for his addiction, but hides all books and reading material from him. Bemis keeps a stash of classics hidden from her, but discovers his wife has defaced them with her own artwork. She enjoys tearing up the book in front of him and seeing the pages fall like the leaves they came from. Bemis is struck and heartbroken and can't get over the literary crime his wife was responsible for. When back at the bank the next day, Bemis doesn't wait 10 seconds to start his lunch break. He has things to read. He sneaks off into the bank vault where he may sit in peace and read up on current events, like the remote possibility of total worldwide apocalypse if H-bomb tests go forward. No sooner Bemis reads the headlines the floor shakes, the earth rattles. Bemis steps out into the devastation, alone.
You call that prime rib? Ugh.
Free from work, free from his wife, free from everything. The sudden liberty quickly turns smothering as Bemis is truly alone with no one to talk to. He has nothing to do, and thinks about joining the rest of the dead. But Bemis discovers solace and salvation. He stands at the steps of the public library. All of his favorite classics were spared from the devastation, leaving them to him on permanent loan. Giddy, content, fulfilled, he gloats over his books and a giant broken clock, signaling he has all the time in the world. There's just one problem. Bemis's Coke bottle glasses fall to the concrete and shatter. He's left blind, unable to read anything, anywhere, anymore. Not fair, Bemis complains, but certainly quite poetic. Let me share with you an alternative character study before I get into the analysis. Meet Henry, a hard-working, sweet old man. He'd give you his last dollar if he knew you needed it. He studies day and night to graduate night school so he can have a better life. His boss refuses to let him work overtime or grant a raise. 8 hours a day is his pay, no more, no less. There's plenty waiting on the unemployment line to take his place. Count, count, count is his boss's motto. Henry's wife pleads with him to live for today. She wants to go out, be with friends, talk to people and live. She tells Henry she has everything she ever wanted. However, Henry is determined to go through with his plan. He sneaks into the bank vault because he doesn't want to be seen studying for a better life. The world blows up. He's left heartbroken, having lost his life and his world. To keep him going, Henry promises himself to finish his studies. He does this for the memory of his wife. Henry's glasses break. He's alone in the world, with a promise to be forever unfulfilled. Had we had this version of a selfless, gentle Bemis, the episode wouldn't have been remembered as a classic. Sure, the irony would still be there, but we would have thought the episode as a downer. Instead, we get a Bemis who is a misanthrope. He's neither malevolent nor sympathetic, because deep down we don't want to be like him. We have empathy, meaning we understand him and easily guess his weaknesses. Time Enough at Last is about Henry Bemis, perfectly played by Burgess Meredith, who teases us to choose between laughing at him or not. There are many comedic, incongruent elements. His thickened spectacles for his favorite hobby. He's a bank teller but has problems counting. Uses the vault to hide his love for reading. Of course, there's the ultimate incongruence of a broken clock representing a lifetime. There's a deliberate, or not, sense of relief when we hear the tape recording of his boss tongue-clucking about unimportant things in light of recent events. This is another example of incongruity. His separation from his wife is also a numbing experience that is equally confusing for Bemis. Shared with the viewer, is he really saddened? Or does he begin to realize the freedom enjoyed without her? It's a very simple episode that preys on Henry like a vulture circling above, biding time. No other drama or story threads were needed. Curious, for a world that blew up. There's no hint of a global crisis or impending war. We are led to believe it had something to do with developing the bomb. Maybe a lab experiment went wrong. There's also a Fahrenheit 451 vibe when Henry's wife shows disdain for print by tearing up the book. It's not just her, but Bemis's reaction picking up the pieces as if the book was not replaceable. But there's nothing in the episode that hints of the demise of print, for dystopian reasons or not. The episode didn't need it, but it would have been interesting had the Twilight Zone predicted the declining popularity of ink on paper decades before the information age. If we're choosing episodes that represent the mood and ideas the Twilight Zone will be forever known for, Time Enough at Last would be on that list. Produced in 1959 for commercial advertisers competing for network ratings, it showed courage having no mercy for the episode's protagonist, leaving him broken in a post-apocalyptic world first aired in the Atomic Age, where duck and cover were part of the vernacular.
A grown man who reads silly, ridiculous, nonsensical doggerel.
I also appreciate learning what doggerel meant, a word likely never to be repeated again. Mark Zickery's The Twilight Zone Companion goes into greater detail about the episode, more than usual compared to other episodes in the book. You'll read how it was based on a 6-page short story by Lynn Venable, the disaster was caused by nuclear war, and the story itself was considered cute, clever, and forgettable. Rod Serling wanted to build on that and make the character of Henry Bemis a funny man, where the audience would have overwhelming sympathy. Obviously, because of what I just said earlier, I have to take exception between Serling's intention of a sympathetic character and my reception of an empathic character. Because of Bemis's awkwardness, otherwise described as funny, I didn't see a crushing tragedy, but something close to getting one's comeuppance. This nuance and subtle differences between viewers of how we perceive Henry Bemis is the reason why the episode is as great as it was. Time Enough at Last is in 5 dimensions out of 5. It does have a couple tropes. Tag them isolation and sweet, sweet irony. This is Mr. G of Synergy leaving you with these final words. They say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Won't help much if you don't have glasses. True words indeed in the Twilight Zone. Check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.